All right, good morning. If everybody could take their seats. All right. On behalf of the City of Kingston, welcome to the 8th Annual Mayor's Innovation Challenge. Exciting times. My name is Craig Desjardins. I'm Director of Strategy, Innovation, Partnerships at the City, and it's my very great pleasure to welcome you today. First of all, to all the participants, relax. It's going to be great. I've seen your pitches already. You're already stars. You're going to do great. So just take it down, relax. I know it's stressful. This is one of my favorite times of the year. The Mayor's Innovation Challenge is always an incredibly energizing event for me. Not only because of the student innovators who are embracing social impact and entrepreneurship, but also because it affirms the incredible innovation ecosystem we have in Kingston, including our post-secondary education institutions, our private sector, our not-for-profits, and government coming together to make sure that we have something that I'm doing a lot of reading on right now, community resilience. And whether it's building resilience to address the pandemic, and we had some incredible success as we came out of the pandemic because we came together, or if it's dealing with the challenges we have today of tariffs. Again, it's a critical element as we grow a thriving community. Before I begin, I did want to just just some shout outs of thanks. Thanks in particular, because I almost always forget. We have someone who has run this event for the first time, Julia, who's taking photos as well. Julia Morban is the special assistant to the mayor. This is her first time organizing. She's done an incredible job planning and organizing and executing on this event. Julia, thank you so much for taking this on. I know it's been a challenge. Thank you so much. And I see some of our friends and partners from St. Lawrence College here. Some of them are no longer with the college. You have been incredible in your support, in your mentorship of students. We are incredibly grateful for your collaboration. To our friends at Queen's, I think we're going to have Jim come up in a few minutes, so I'll thank him directly. But again, just an incredible amount of contribution from our community. We have a number of people I'd like to invite up to say a few words. And perhaps, I did forget, I have to recognize our home viewers. For those of you that do not know, we are streaming this live on the internet. And so for those of you that are joining us virtually, welcome. For those of you here, just recognize that you are on the internet. First up, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Mayor Brian Patterson. Brian, as you know, is our champion, and we're so pleased to have him. Brian, please come up and say a few words.
That's great. Thanks very much, Craig, and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 8th Annual Mayor's Innovation Challenge. Like Craig, I would probably say that this is one of my favorite events of the year. It's something that I look forward to every year. I leave energized and inspired. And I can tell you that I already know, without having seen your pitches, that this year is going to be the best year that we have ever had. I think the first thing I want to say is congratulations to all the teams for making it this far. There were a lot of really great submissions. I would say that probably it was the toughest year we've had in narrowing it down to the finalists. So every single one of you should be very proud that you've made it this far and made it to this point. And I know that you're going to make our job as judges very difficult today. But I do want to say that no matter what happens today, that there's always room and space for a great idea. So there can be only one or two winners, but I do want you to know that certainly for you to get to this stage, every one of you have ideas that can make an incredible impact, not only in Kingston, but beyond. And so certainly my door remains open, and I look forward to not only hearing from you today, but continuing to follow your work as you continue to pursue your ideas. We need innovation, we need entrepreneurship. As has been said, the challenges that we're facing as a city, as a province, as a country right now are enormous. But you guys have the power to be able to make that difference. So thank you again for submitting. Thank you for being here. Looking forward to a great day. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson. Next up, Rob Beck from Bell Canada.
Good morning. I want to start by thanking Mayor Patterson for once again putting on this amazing event. Our community outreach team looks at sponsorships and what we're going to invest in every year. And when they came to me and asked me, what's the value of being part of this event? And the value is really you as students and your ideas. And I think we can all agree that the challenges and pressures that we have as Canadians and as a country today are growing and insurmountable. And the way we're going to overcome that is by continuing to be leaders, continuing to be innovators, and being part of the technology sector and being part of sustainability and growth is what you guys are bringing to us today. And so this is my third year being part of this event, and I hope to continue being part of this event, and Bell will continue to sponsor this because just the value that comes out of these is insurmountable. And so whether you're successful today or not, continue to grow your ideas, take some positive feedback, take some negative feedback, and build on that, because we are going to need all of you to be successful. And so I think on behalf of my colleagues here today and Mayor Patterson, we want to thank you for coming, thank you for your ideas, and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, Rob. And I would just add, you know, it has been so extraordinary to have Bell Canada. Bell has been a title founding partner with the city in the Mayor's Innovation Challenge. When we approached them 8 years ago, I'm sure they were sort of wondering what we were up to. You've had faith, you've kept the faith with us as we've grown this incredible event. So thank you very much on behalf of the city. Next up, a friend and colleague, Jim McClellan.
Thank you, Craig. And I'd like to begin by thanking Mayor Patterson, Craig, your team for this initiative. I've been involved in every one of these, 8 years. It's hard to imagine, but it's a really important piece. And I pretty much find myself saying every year. I grew up in Kingston. Okay, I went away to school, came back, and so forth. Kingston has evolved so much, especially over the last 10 to 15 years. And it's a dynamic place. It's a great place to live, and there's so much talent around. And so the Mayor's Innovation Challenge plays a really important part of hopefully catalyzing and opening up new possibilities. And so that's why I'm always really pleased, A, to participate. We're very pleased as the Dun-and-Dishpandi Queen's Innovation Centre to support and help in any way we can, but it's a really important initiative. I'd also like to take this opportunity to say that, as post-secondary institutions, Queen's and St. Lawrence, and I would also like to acknowledge, as Craig did, the tremendous work that St. Lawrence has been doing with their innovation teams over the past years. We have an important role in society, and so sometimes, it's difficult to try to do that. Trying to bridge the gap. Events like this, which are really organic engagements between St. Lawrence, Queens, and the city and the region, are really important in that regard. So thank you also for helping us have a greater impact in the region. To the contestants, good luck, and confident that you're going to do well. Very much looking forward to seeing the pitches. And I'll just echo also what Craig said, which is, and what Rob said, right? If you're successful, go for it. If you're not successful, think about the feedback, go for it. Okay, this is just the start, and you just never know where your life's journey is going to take you. So I'll just close by saying good luck, everybody, and again, once a huge thank you to Mayor Patterson and Craig and the team for organizing this. Thank you.
I would just say again, Dun-and-Dishpandi Queen's Innovation Centre has been a founding partner of this project. Jim's been here as a judge, to Virginia, to Greg, to all the team at DDQIC. Thank you so much for your collaboration. It's now my pleasure to welcome another friend and colleague, Shelley Hurstwood from Kingston Economic Development.
Well, good morning. It is such a pleasure to be here. So thank you to the city team. Thank you for everyone to organize. But mostly, I want to congratulate all the contestants here today and all the great entrepreneurship and great ideas that have come forward. And you know, I would say that entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. It's challenging. You're solving deep problems. You're coming up with innovations. And these innovations is really what's going to fuel the future. So I'm really excited to see the pitches today. I'm very excited to welcome everyone here today. And I would say that, you know, as you're going forward, similar to what Jim said, you know, there will be successful teams, there will be teams that are not successful, but I do encourage you to continue on this path of entrepreneurship and encourage you to seek out support, whether it's through the Kingston Economic Development Office, through DDQIC, and through all the great partners we have as resources here in Kingston. I think Kingston actually was ranked #1 as the #1 small city for entrepreneurship in Canada. And I think we're ranked, I think the number is 9 all across Canada, so across all the major cities. That is huge. So take advantage of the resources here to support you. It's going to be an exciting day, and I also want to say we're also excited that the winning team will also be joining the Summer Company program this year, which will include training, hands-on mentorship, and work with some actual businesses. So we're very excited about that. So congratulations to everyone.
Okay, maybe I should have flipped this. Maybe I should have done the introduction to all of our esteemed judges, but I'll just give you a little bit of a bio, just so you have some context for who's going to be asking the questions. First up, Mayor Brian Patterson. Brian was first elected the 96th Mayor of Kingston in 2014. He has been elected 3 times as mayor, and before that as a city councillor. Brian moved to Kingston in 2000 to attend Queen's University, to his his graduate degree, or his master's, and then followed that up with a PhD. He loved Kingston so much, he's never left. He currently is an assistant professor at the Royal Military College of Canada in the economics faculty. So Brian, thank you again for your mentorship, and I guess when it's your challenge, you get to be the lead judge, so well done. Rob Beck, has been a long-time Kingston resident and has attended Queen's University. His post-graduation, he started the IT sales sector and is currently client executive with Bell Canada, supporting enterprise clients in Eastern Ontario. He's focused on partnership development and collaboration between all levels of IT. This is Rob's 3rd year, as he mentioned, as a judge with our challenge. So, Rob, thank you for joining us. Jim McClellan is the academic director and co-founder of the Dun-and-Dishpandi Queen's Innovation Centre, which champions innovation and entrepreneurship across all programs of study at Queen's University in the Kingston area and even more broadly in the region. Jim has helped develop the flagship summer program at Queen's that has helped design, implement, and teach programs and courses related to innovation and entrepreneurship at Smith Faculty of Engineering and Applied Science, at the School of Business, and at the Dan School of Music. I have actually a whole page, Jim, of your incredible accomplishments. I'll say that I always recognize that one of the things, Jim, actually, I don't know if we can coax Jim to, he brought his flute, actually. That's one of the things. Jim is actually a semi-professional musician. Jim, I don't know whether you want to do a performance for us later. Maybe we can coax you up. But no, Jim is an extraordinary talented leader in our community. In his spare time, he's also a professor of chemical engineering, where he teaches in grad studies. He has a number of incredible research projects, actually some we are actually partnered on, including one of the most recent ones, which is a $7.9 million Genome Canada funded project called Open Plastics. Which again is about sustainability and our environment. So Jim, it's always a pleasure to have you here. Next up is someone new to our panel, Harold Parsons. Harold is a leader with a diverse background in coaching, community development, and organizational growth. He is the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club Southeast here in Kingston and has been since the year 2000. It is really quite an incredible story to see the growth that has taken place with the Boys and Girls Club. It's grown from an organizational budget of, I think, around $200,000 to over $8 million. It's increased staff from 2 to over 200. It's increased his impact from 250 children and young adults to over 5,000. Just an extraordinary example of innovation and leadership in our community. The Boys and Girls Club have been recognized as part of the Boys and Girls Club network in Canada as one of the most innovative across the country. We are very pleased to actually be partnering on a new version of the Mayor's Innovation Challenge, the junior edition, as we've called it, with the Boys and Girls Club. For those of you, anybody have any brothers and sisters or children in the grade 7 or 8, we have an amazing new program for young adults to try and expose them to innovation and entrepreneurship and the process of developing ideas. So if you're interested, please check out the website, Boys and Girls Club Southeast. There's some great fun and great programming. But beyond that, Harold is also deeply committed to youth development and is, as a career, something I didn't know, as a high performance coach of hockey players. Over 25 years experience as a head coach at the varsity level, including 10 years spent as a head coach of the Queen's women's hockey team. I didn't know that. Amazing. Welcome, Harold. And last but not least, Shelley Hurstwood. Shelley is a director of business development at the Kingston Economic Development Corporation, specializing in investment attraction and growth. Her core responsibilities encompass the identification of prospective businesses that we want to attract to Kingston. And those include foreign direct investment and as well as growing our companies here in Kingston. In her capacity, she engaged in various stakeholders, including all levels of government, federal, provincial, and municipal, real estate professionals, site selectors, industry partners. There's nobody that Shelley won't talk to land a company here in Kingston. Shelley has an amazing background, more than almost 20 years experience in the economic development field, including before she joined Kingston as the economic development manager of Gananoque. She has a long list of incredible, oh, sorry, I did have one more after. Thank you. I didn't turn the page. She does have an incredibly long list of amazing academic accomplishments, including a Bachelor of Science degree from Trent University, as well as a number of certificates from the University of Waterloo in economic development and the Queen's Executive Program at the School of Business. And now, lastly, but not least, we have someone who actually has lived the experience of the Mayor's Innovation Challenge as a presenter, as one of you, as a student. Jen Probert is currently completing her bachelor's degree of Justice Studies at Royal Roads University. Originally from Kingston, Ontario, Jen graduated with distinction from St. Lawrence College in the Community and Justice Services program, where she remains a program advisory committee member and serves as chair. In 2023, Jen and her team won the Mayor's Innovation Challenge with an idea to assist marginalized populations, now called Safe ID. With the help of a new co-founder, she continues to work on that essential project while also owning and operating an online brand called Growing Alone. Her plans for the future consist of working towards a master's degree, traveling with her kids, creating podcasts, all while developing her 2 businesses. She's a very busy person. Jen, thank you so much for joining us today. So just some final details. We'll get to the presentations. I know I'm between you and some exciting innovation. Just some of the details of what the opportunity is all about. So the 2 prizes that are up for grabs today, they're pretty amazing. The first one is with our partner, the Nunna Despandi Queen's Innovation Center. The winner will gain admission to the Queen's Founder Innovation Initiative program, a transformative part-time program that helps aspiring innovators and entrepreneurs take their early stage startups to the next level. They'll receive world-class entrepreneurial training, mentorship, industrial professional advice, and the opportunity to unlock $4,000 in seed funding. The team will also compete for a chance to win seed funding at their big event with a prize pool of more than $80,000. That's quite an incredible pitch competition. If you haven't been there, it's absolutely a must attend. The second prize is the Public Sector Innovation Prize, and that's sponsored by the city in collaboration with our partners at Kingston Economic Development. The winners will receive $10,000 in cash to advance their idea, as well as admission to the Summer Company Program. This program offers resources, mentorship, and hands-on business experience from local business leaders. We have 8 pitches today. Teams will be given the option to play a video, and I think we have videos for all of them, Julia, okay, that they've created as part of their proposal. And then there'll be an opportunity to actually, if you want, have a presentation with mixed media, and then there'll be an opportunity for questions, approximately 5 minutes, which our panel will ask. Once you've completed the pitch competition, and I think we have a break after the first 4, we'll have about a 45-minute to a 1-hour opportunity for the judges to do the heavy work of actually selecting the winners for our competition. All right, I think that, Julie, did I get everything? All right, good. You got to keep me on track. I like to tend to wander. All right, so without further ado, we have our first team, Access Solutions. 2 minutes? 2 minute fancy setup. Okay, so I have to tap dance for 2 minutes? Okay. Other people to thank. Again, I probably didn't thank all the students that aren't here that the pitch didn't win. It is incredible that they have taken time. I've been out of school so long that I sometimes forget about exams and other assignments. This is something that they've taken on, that you've taken on, in addition to all of your work. That's incredible. I don't think when I was in school 30-something years ago, I don't think I did a lot of extra stuff. I found it very challenging to do my coursework. So, again, on behalf of the city for taking that extra effort, kudos and thank you. It really is quite extraordinary. Sorry, Jim.
I'd like to invite Virginia Seatsma from Dun&Dishpandy Queen's Innovation Center to stand up, just so you know who she is. But I really want to, Virginia's been very heavily involved in organizing the sessions from the DDQIC end, and also our colleague Joanna Tennis as well. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you, and also identify.
Absolutely.
Virginia, if you're interested in DDQIC, she's the person to reach out to.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. All right. How are we doing, team? A few minutes? Oh, I always love props. I'll tell you a story just while we're waiting. I think it was year 2 or year 3. We had a project, and it was actually about drones. So you got to think like 6 or 7 years ago, that would have been pretty advanced. The student brought the drone. It was as big as this center table. And I think he had it in his head that he was actually going to fly it in the room. Obviously, with our wonderful chandelier, we had to discourage that sort of trial of the drone. But again, a fascinating project that was all about IoT and drone technology. Something that is he was very visionary. It's something that's now reality. All right, I've tap danced enough, and I'll pass it over to our wonderful team from Access Solutions.
So, hello, my name is Riley, and this is Caesar. We are students from SLC, and we are so excited to talk to you today about our idea. First, let's start with our video. 2 years ago, I moved to Kingston from Ottawa to continue my education. What I didn't realize was how hard it would be to find affordable food options. There were times when it was difficult to get by.
Riley is not the only person feeling this. Kingston officially declared a food crisis here in our community, highlighting that 1 in 3 people are struggling to put food on their table. Food that could have been prevented from becoming waste in the first place. Kingston businesses don't have the right infrastructure to properly track their perishable food inventory. Without this data, food that could have been used or donated ends up in the landfill.
Studies show that 58% of the food produced in Canada is waste. Much of this waste comes from organizations. This is not just a missed opportunity to reduce food insecurity. It is a massive environmental issue. with tons of greenhouse gas emissions.
This disconnect between food waste and food insecurity, it's a problem we can solve. Here's how it works. We partner with local businesses to install IoT-enabled scales on their food storage surfaces. These scales measure the weight of the perishable food in real time, providing a simple yet powerful solution to track surplus of food.
By installing these sensors in fridges, inventory rooms, and other stock locations, we can bring this innovation to Kingston, help businesses waste less, and connect their surplus food to food banks faster.
This data is sent to a central dashboard. This information is then used to identify which businesses have surplus food ready to pick up.
By focusing on weight alone, our solution is easy to deploy and cost-effective, perfect for immediate impact.
Maybe our idea sounds ambitious, but it's entirely possible. Cities like Seoul, they're already using this technology to transform food systems.
By implementing smart bins with weight sensors, Seoul reduced food waste to almost 0%. With Access, we don't want to wait until the food hits the bin. We want to divert the food at the source.
Access, we believe in a Kingston that leads with compassion. A city where no food is wasted and no body is left behind. This vision is personal. Having experienced food insecurity, I know how transformative a system that is built on empathy and action would have been.
With the support of the Mayor's Innovation Challenge, we can take a critical step toward the Zero Waste Kingston. By developing IoT technology, we'll help businesses track and reduce food waste while redistributing surplus food to those who need it the most. Thank you for believing in this vision. Together, we can make Kingston a leader in sustainability and build a brighter and more empathetic future.
So imagine for a moment that we're not here at City Hall, but at Bella Bistro on the other side of the city. In this hypothetical example, Bella Bistro has recently joined the Access pilot, and today it's the first day that they're deploying their smart scale, and it's ready, up and running. As they go through a normal day of preparing food, some items get damaged or somehow they're not served. They used to throw away this food that was in perfect conditions to be consumed. But instead, we can place it right here. So if you pay attention to the computers in front of you, you're gonna notice that every 15 seconds, that device syncs with the dashboard in front of you, and it's collecting information in real time. So then, this dashboard, it's made available for nonprofits and other organizations that could benefit from getting access to this surplus food. With this device, we're aiming to help restaurants to utilize food instead of just sending it to the landfill.
With the use of a single smart scale device in each of these restaurants, we can deploy a quick and impactful solution to food insecurity and prevent waste. These restaurants can now display the unfit food that they might have thrown away to organizations like these, who are already working to redistribute and utilize the surplus food.
At the heart of this solution, it's a simple, cost-effective device. For just the price of $200 per business, we can install a smart scale that merges with the daily activities. With this device, we are going to include everything with the setup, installation, hosting, and maintenance for the 200. In addition, so it's a small investment, but one that is going to unlock an enormous value.
With the city's support through the Mayor's Innovation Challenge, we hope to bring this program to 10 restaurants as a pilot. Throughout this pilot, we are hoping to deploy 10 smart scales, one for each business. During this pilot, we're hoping to create connections with the Kingston community, foster relationships, and refine our smart scale prototype. From there, we're looking to expand all across Kingston.
We are looking for the city's help to establish more connections with Kingston businesses and also to work with us to create additional incentives for those organizations that join this network.
Now, let's talk about impact. On average, Ontario restaurants throw out 5 tons of food waste every year. In our first year of deployment, our goal is to divert just 1 ton of that. At 10 businesses, that can result in 10 tons of waste being diverted and 40 tons of carbon dioxide being offset in the atmosphere.
The goal is to save enough food to provide 4 meals a night. I know that at first glance, this might look small, but as you can see behind me, over a year period time, we can provide almost 15,000 meals being redistributed.
For our next steps, in addition to our supply chain solution, we are looking to refine our prototype device to make it easier to integrate into inventory rooms across Kingston. We are also looking to refine our program to make it more valuable for businesses to join the network and to streamline the process for nonprofits.
The Mayor's Innovation Challenge will help us to accelerate the impact that we can have on Kingston community. With your help, businesses will reduce waste, nonprofits will get access to surplus food, and families in need will receive quality meals.
Let's continue to create a Kingston we are proud to call home. One where everyone can thrive, where nothing is wasted and ideas can flourish. Help us move Kingston towards a tomorrow of sustainability through the actions made today. Thank you.
Great job, team. It's always hard to be the first. Questions from our panel? Rob.
Explain to us why you've chose to base things on weight versus product type.
Really, it's just ease of deployment, right? It's hard to, and Cesar might be able to speak to this better, but it's hard to kind of identify what's on there. This is just simple and easy and effective to get out to businesses. We have a GPS and we have a weight sensor, and it just says how much food is there. So we just put it there and it's ready to go.
Jim?
Just to build on, a strong presentation, by the way, well done. To build on Rob's question, have you thought about how you could get that extra information beyond weight in an easy, relatively straightforward way at all?
Yeah, great question, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for your question. So every business is different. They have their own needs and their different qualities. So for the prototype, basically it's demonstrating the beginning, just with weight. But the intention is to improve the prototype in such a way that it can incorporate additional sensors like temperature or based on their needs, even probably a bigger scale.
Imagine images and things like that, but what I would suggest is, hey Siri, I've got bananas and carrots sitting on the scale right now. Something like that, just throw that out as an idea.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian.
Thanks, guys. Really interesting idea. Love the technology piece and how we would integrate this into a food security strategy. I guess my question is just on a practical level. So love the prototype. And I saw the cost for it, but I'm thinking if you've got a large volume, you need to put all of that on the scale. So this would scale, I'm thinking a larger sensor. Do you have any idea what the cost would be? Does the cost go up linearly, or is it, any ideas on what that would look like?
Awesome, great question, thank you. So we have thought about this, and the beauty with this solution is it's quite lean, right? So really, the device is quite easy to make, and this is the most it's gonna cost. So it'll go down, and then as we implement it on a larger scale, we're hoping to get our own server. So this way we're lowering cloud costs, it'll be all internal, it'll be secure, and really the biggest cost that will come with creating these is the development and the developers creating the code and creating the IoT devices. So really the scaling is just how many people we can bring on.
Great. Last question, Shelley.
Well, great presentation, and I love that you're tackling this food security piece. My question is a very practical question as well about the integration into the actual restaurants. Have you spoken with the restaurants as where would this fit into their process and their planning?
Great question. So unfortunately, at this moment, we have not been able to speak to any restaurants about this. It is still in the conceptualization phase, and that's actually what we're hoping to achieve with the Mayor's Innovation Challenge, is to kind of create those connections. But the hope and the vision is that it just kind of sits in their inventory room. We'll obviously make it easier to integrate into there. And it's just somewhere that they can place extra food that would have went in the trash or the dumpster outside or something like that, maybe by the door or wherever works for them. The nice thing is it's easy, it's modular, it can go anywhere that they would like it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much. Congratulations. Before we invite our next team up, I just wanted to recognize, I was remiss in not recognizing a member of council who's joining us. Wendy Stephen, give a wave. Thank you so much for joining us today. Always glad to have you here. All right, now, as they say, now for something completely different. Our next team is Handfluence. Come on up, guys.
Hello. According to the Canadian Association of the Deaf, around 357,000 Canadians are identified as culturally deaf, plus an additional 3.21 million are also considered hard of hearing. As you can see here, this is a widespread issue that is happening all across the country to millions of Canadians. Now, what is the problem here? Across many public services and institutions, there are several individuals who are deaf and hard of hearing facing many barriers that do not allow them to communicate easily. Less access to communication means more barriers in terms of accessing essential services such as healthcare, education, and many other public institutions like libraries and banking.
That's where Handfluence comes in. And we're not offering just one solution, we're offering three. So our first product is called Decode. Decode is a real-time ASL to English translator. So this allows deaf individuals to sign naturally while our AI translates to either written or spoken English. And we have a demo to show you how this works.
Spelling is key in ASL, used for names, technical terms, and words without a dedicated sign. As we sign each letter, Decode tracks the hand movements in real time and converts them into text. You'll notice an autocorrect feature. It detects false finger movements and presents suggestions, ensuring greater accuracy. Even if I slightly misform a letter, Decode interprets intent, just like a human would.
Next, we have Insight. So Insight is an AI avatar interpreter. So this allows for translation from English to ASL in real time. Unlike existing solutions, Insight is web accessible, so no extra hardware requirements. You could imagine a Zoom meeting with an interpreter just automatically built in. That's what Insight would make possible. Our final product is Haptics, our most advanced innovation. This is a robotic hand that translates from English to tactile sign language. That allows deaf, blind individuals to receive information through touch. So this allows for new communication possibilities where traditional sign language just isn't an option.
So how does this all fit into Kingston's vision? The 2023-2025 Kingston Accessibility Plan aims to eliminate communication barriers in public spaces, integrating real-time ASL interpretation at libraries, government offices, and private institutions brings us one step closer to the 2040 Canadian Accessibility Act goal, removing all barriers to inclusion. But accessibility must be sustainable. Our business model is built for long-term impact through B2B subscriptions, where institutions pay a monthly or annual fee, licensing and enterprise integration, embedding our software into existing platforms, and finally, through hardware sales and ongoing maintenance, we ensure accessibility, scalability, while generating recurring revenue.
Here you can see a chart of our competitor analysis. As you can see, each of them offer a completely individual solution to a problem. Some have ASL to English, other English to ASL, English to ASL tactile, and some others have real-time processing. However, the competitive edge we, Handfluence, have over them is that we offer a full ecosystem offering real-time solution for all of these options.
But we're not doing this alone. We have just, sorry.
As you can see here, this is our timeline of development. At first, we will be working on the next 4 months during May and August to complete our MVP development and get the 3 products ready to test. Next, we'll move on to beta testing, getting real people to test and provide feedback on our AI training and models. After that, we'll move into refinement, doing some validation and some refinement to our AI to ensure there's no overfitting or underfitting to it. And in the last phase, phase 4, we'll attempt to do a full deployment of a pilot program, providing this service to many public institutions so they can provide feedback back to us on how we perform.
But we're not doing this alone. We have just partnered with the Queen's ASL team, and we intend to use this collaboration for AI training and community engagement. We have reached out to a local school to understand how we can help kids. A public library is interested in providing a makerspace to us to develop our products. With these partnerships, we're bridging the gap between research and real-world impact. Every startup needs resources, and after extensive R&D, we estimate that $10,000 will help us reach our full potential. That would be funding MVP development, beta testing, marketing, and pilot programs to refine our strategy and prepare for real-world implementation. Handfluence isn't just a startup. It's the future of accessibility. With Decode, Insight, and Haptics, we're building a world where communication is universal. The change starts now. The question is, are you ready for it?
Great job. Questions? Here.
Love it. That's a really, really cool idea. I guess my first question is, you've talked about the 3 separate products. So how important is it to have all 3 kind of roll out at the same time? Is that a key competitive advantage, or do you see value in having 1 or 2 move at different stages along your timeline, depending on how things go or where if you run into problems? I'm just curious to know what the integration looks like.
First of all, thank you for appreciating our product. And it is important to have all the features together because have you ever installed multiple browsers in your computer? you can find that it is very tedious to install different programs one by one. Each one has a different setup, different software going on, so it is very hard for people to adapt to it. However, if we have everything included in Handfluence in a single ecosystem, it is much easier to access it. Plus, you never know what issues you may arise or have in the future, so having that at the right palm of your hand is much easier than to go and run around and install it at the time. Additionally, having multiple phases for our development allows us to get further feedback from real people that tells us what is wrong with our product or what could be improved. For example, maybe our AI is not processing fast enough for someone signing. That feedback can allow us to further refine our processing to get faster processing times and also adapt for different regional gestures.
Jim.
Excellent presentation and a fascinating idea. Just building on the business model details and the revenue stream, is there a case to be made to say, instead of sort of looking to individuals, for example, for subscriptions, that you would approach this as broader infrastructure? So in the same way that we provide physical accessibility, we might then use something like yours to really expand accessibility beyond that.
So are you referring in terms of B2C a model?
Potentially, yeah, and revenue stream. So is it, does it have to be purely subscription?
It doesn't have to be, but we went with a B2B subscription to penetrate deeper into the market. This way, everyone will have access to it. So say a lot of people attend libraries, right? And so this having 3 of our products at a library would mean greater impact into the community rather than having to put down a lot of money or a monthly subscription where necessarily not a lot of people might have for a B2C model. And so we could potentially explore that revenue, but maybe for a cheaper product or further products down the line.
Okay.
Harold.
Also share the comments of great presentation. You say $10,000 was the amount that would sort of help you with this pilot phase. That seems modest given what you presented, which is great. But how do you see over the next 3 years or 2 years when you implement this, sustaining it in a sense of yourselves, and how much time do you see yourselves investing to make this happen?
So again, our timeline starts, if you notice, it starts in May. That's considering our academic constraints right now. And so summer, entirety of 4 months, we're all free and we're all willing to work on this. Again, school does happen in the way, but we're also willing to make that commitment just because we have resources right on Queens. The biggest example is SparkQ. It's our makerspace right on Queens. And as an engineering student in robotics, I use that space so much. And so having that space like that means that I can go in during my free time to work on this project, having that open space, that collaboration, supervisors. It's really helpful and resourceful as a student at Queens to implement such a product, and I feel like we as a team can scale it so much more better just because of the resources right on campus.
Good. Thank you.
Questions? All right. Oh, Jim, final question?
One last question. Have you had a chance to talk to people who could be, in your segment? So, for example, people who might use this or organizations that might use this?
Yes, so like I mentioned, we reached out to our Queens ASL Club, and there is one individual who speaks full-time ASL. And so we are going to have a meeting with them, just discuss how we can help this individual with signing, be gestures, how we can find that cultural appropriation is the actual word. Because again, ASL or be it BSL, everything has its own dialects and cultural appropriation. So working with individuals directly who are deaf or hard of hearing helps us understand that market very much deeply. And even I mentioned the local school. So the local school is for the deaf and the blind, where we reached out. We're still in talks, and so hopefully if we manage to get in touch with them, we'll get a deeper understanding how this can be implemented at schools to help kids, right? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Well done. Thanks, guys. All right, next up is TrueSight Labs. we got more technology, because great, I love this.
Hello, hello. Perfect. Hello, everybody. My name's Alex, and this is TrueSight Labs. This is my team. And before we start with our presentation, I want to talk more about this current state of our lives and where the history of what we came to this digital world, okay? So for the last 70 years, the world have become much, much more digital. Everything is done online, on the computer. From architecture to engineering to animation and art, everything is done online. Even our play, we used to go out into the street and play soccer, but now we congregate online, play video games, go on social media. We are now digital creatures. But that didn't come without drawbacks. You see, something sinister came into play back in 2015, the attention economy. And what it did was that big tech realizes that if you feed people engaging, exotic content, every 6 seconds, new thing, what happens is that they enter an unaware trance and they stay on it for hours. So you can feed them targeted advertising. And that's the current state of affairs. Every big tech platform has this, and it had made me incredibly frustrated. My entire generation, extremely frustrated. We came up with terms like doom scrolling or brain rotting because we literally can't leave, and it hacks our brain in a way that we would waste hours and hours. I was part of that generation, and I was incredibly pissed off. And so what I did was I hit the books hard. I studied from Stanford to Harvard professors. I became a computer and cognitive scientist. I became a researcher under Dr. Anwar Hussain to deal with this problem. You see, I learned from the best. And these are the two best in the field of digital addiction. Dr. Anna Limke from Stanford, in which made the book called Dopamine Nation, sold 4 million copies worldwide. And Dr. K from Harvard Medical School, in which he had to leave his private practice so that he could deal with this mental health crisis caused by digital addiction, growing to 3 million followers on YouTube. And so there's a huge market here. So this is what I learned. When you engage in this kind of exotic and fast-paced content, your brain is filled with dopamine. And so what happens is your brain, after the session, have to rebalance itself. It has to almost put you in pain to become chemically balanced. It's called homeostasis. So now after engaging with this content, you got two terrible choices. Number one, to leave and be in pain and try to be productive with no dopamine, no pleasure, or go back to doom scrolling. Terrible. So that's the state of the world, right? Human become more frustrated and inert, while AI becomes smarter every day. I cannot stand by and abide. But thinking about solution, one day it hit me, my eureka moment. What we need to do, not what we need to do, it's what the companies, these big tech companies, presuppose is that consumption is the main thing every user must do. So what is the opposite of consumption? Creation. And the beauty of creation is it's also dopaminergic. You are also feeling a ton of pleasure when you do it. And rightfully so. You should be accomplished when you create something. And so that's my solution. Create a workspace for creation. Let users upload a PDF, use ChatGPT or Wikipedia to let them truly understand, not just use it and pass by, and then take action, create on our platform. And that's our competitors, the current tools. It just does all the work for us. We don't fundamentally need to do anything. It doesn't fuel our curiosity. And so I tested this. I created TrueSight. Let's get all my friends to start creating. And the beauty of it was that we put in 12-hour days for this project, and we just were happy the entire time. This was a new mode of being, truly. And you guys recognize us for it. You guys at the Queen's Hackathon let us come here to pitch. Here's a few pages of what it looks like. Keep going, keep going. And then we have a video demo of truly showing what we do. So what we do is start off, go to our website, simply. You upload a PDF to test it out. But what you want to really do is go to the main mind map. You select things you don't understand. Well, what is Python? We generate an explanation. Oh, it's a programming language. Well, what you can then enter in is some coding examples. What does the syntax really look like? Okay, so that's how it works. Well, the program recognizes that that's code, and it opens a code editor. You start writing code. There. And then the whole workflow is done. I go on to research more about data analysis here, but the beauty here is this is saved in real time constantly, like a Google Doc, and you can collaborate with other people to truly create even like our website on our platform. You can browse, do whatever. And so after the hackathon, being recognized by the Mayor Innovation Challenge, I did some research, my team and I. And we realized we could serve literally everybody. I reached out to one of the judges at QHacks, Julie Fawcett, and I sit down and talk to her and be like, okay, how can we serve you? And then she told me a story about how she went to the University of Montreal and signed with a shady landlord. And so that really interrupted her work, her studies, because she has to do this legal battle. Well, we can help with that. Let's pretend we're Julie for a second. Go ahead. Oh, well, here's this lease agreement. Let's go through. Well, I'm not that great at French. Let me select an explanation, get an English explanation. Oh, wow, these are exorbitant late fees. Is this even legal? I ask it. And you can generate an explanation. Oh, it's legal. Continue. Here's our third use case. I was talking to my friend, and she wanted to open a restaurant. That's her dream. But what are the steps to filling out the forms to create such a thing? Well, let's show that. We can edit our PDF forms on here. But what are these debt collection acts? I don't know what they mean. What applies to a restaurant business? And so that's the vision. We sell this to businesses, universities, government organizations as a comprehension and productivity tool. We keep the basic tool for the private citizens free, and we can either give them more premium as a subscription model or partner with creative software tools like Cinema 4D for animation or Unreal Engine for game dev, and then we can suggest it to them. So this is our roadmap. For the first quarter, we achieve all our, goals. We secure funding with Queen's University over the summer. We pitched to you guys. We pitched to RippleX, a B2B SaaS accelerator in Toronto that's willing to give us $50,000 for 2.5 equity if we publish the MVP after the summer. We partner with Queen's University to do a user research, to get 100 people to use our product, get the data, what works, what didn't, and they iterate the product further, and then we'll go to market at the end of the year. So I hope by now you guys understand the vision, understand where TrueSight is going. And I hope that you all join us in helping people create more. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Questions? Shelley?
So excellent presentation, and I love the why and how you start with the why. What I'm interested in is AI is evolving so fast. How is your platform going to maintain its competitive advantage against everything that's happening in the AI world and all the new platforms that are being developed?
Yeah, so we actually build on top of the AI that's being developed. We're not big enough to compete with them. And so what we do is we use their reasoning algorithm as an API key so that our user will get the best, most up-to-date information, and then have all that information sourced from a very reliable source on the internet.
Rob?
Thank you so much, guys. It's a really, really cool idea. What I want to ask is, your pitch, as we see it, is how you're going to help individuals with ADHD. And you really didn't touch on that. You talked about the
well, we had a
platform,
little
you talked to us about how great it can be and what it can do. And I can see uses for everybody, not just individuals with ADHD, but what research have you done? How are you targeting people with that? And how are you defining ADHD? Because it is extremely broad.
Yeah, so I did my research with on this information through Dr. K, and he talks about how ADHD people are the most impacted when it comes to the doom scrolling and the inhibition control. And so they're the one that we need to serve the most. And so I started with that idea, but then during the hackathon, everybody realized this is just a great tool for everybody. And so we're like, the study is still on ADHD people, obviously, because they need help the most. But yeah, like it's for everybody, and you're right. Yeah.
Enjoyed your presentation, and very interesting kind of tool. Build on Shelley's question, which is, there's the advances in AI. I think another important part of the question is, what are the barriers to entry for your competitors? Because if there's all sorts of large language model, based solutions in Gemini and so on and so on. So if they see that you've got this niche on, say, this mind mapping piece, which is an intriguing idea, do you have a sense of what's going to stop them from all of a sudden coming in? They've got a massive platform. And so I'm just wondering if you have thoughts about how you would maintain a competitive advantage.
Yeah, so you're wondering what's our moat, really. And I think our moat is the outreach that we can do. Like, there are many tools like us, study tools, but the problem is they don't fundamentally understand the problem, right? They don't understand that this is a battle for attention, and this is a battle that need to switch its user to becoming creators. And nobody truly understands that. And to visualize that in a very easy way, a second brain almost on the computer screen. And that's our mode. And secondly, we already in talks with large creators that are in this space. I'm already talking to Dr. K regarding how he could advertise it to his, I guess, followers. And really keeping ourselves in the zeitgeist of the people is our competitive advantage. And that's why we start with the why.
Thank you. Other questions? All right. Thank you very much, guys. Well done.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Good job. Thank you. All right. right, next up, Green Tech Kingston.
Hello, folks. Thanks for being here with us today. My name is Nathan White, and we are Green Tech Kingston. Food insecurity, it's not just a number. It's a reality for thousands of people in our city every day. Kingston Public Health reports that 1 in 3 households don't have reliable access to nutritious food. Food banks are overwhelmed. We're relying on imports and donations to feed our citizens. What are you going to do when the supply chain breaks, when inflation spikes, or when relief runs out?
We cannot solve this problem simply by donating. We need a solution that will allow people to grow the food in their own in a simple and efficient way.
This simple and efficient method is our Make Your Own Farm model, also known as the My-Off Kit. These are microgreen kits that will be available to the users, and you would grow your fresh, sustainable food in your own home. So it's not a solution you have to afford, it's a solution you can create.
Our My-Off Kit will let anyone with no backyard, no experience, no guesswork, grow fresh, healthy greens in their home all year round. But we don't just build or create a smart farming system. We're creating a smart farming system that will empower the new generation of farmers to learn, innovate, and develop their own smart farms. Our My-Off Kit is powered with AI, microcontrollers, and sensors. Help farmers ensure the ideal growing condition all year round. First off, we have the soil moisture sensor. Help farmer to prevent over or under watering. Secondly, we have the soil temperature sensor that will help farmer ensure even and healthy development. The third one, we have the temperature and humidity sensor that will help farmer maintain optimal plant health. Lastly, we have light, color, and intensity sensor. Help farmer ensures optimal light quality for healthy growth. No expertise, no constant monitoring, just fresh homegrown food effortlessly. But what happened once you get your Green Tech Kingston My-Off Kit? That's where our smart farming app comes in. And we also provide continuing support from our technical support team. With our interactive AI agent, farmers get a real-time growing guidance, troubleshooting guide, task management, and task notifications.
One of the important things I've noticed about Kingston is we appreciate community. And Great Tech Kingston provides that. Not only do we provide the users with the MyF kits, we also have a community platform in which users could file their complaints and put some issues if they had any issues. The AI could help them troubleshoot it. And there's a probability that if a single user had this issue and came to the platform to explain it and explain how it got resolved, someone else could see it. Troubleshooting issues become way easier. Next, please. Yes. Great Tech Kingston also does workshop. One of the beautiful things about our workshop is we help the users understand how to effectively use the MyF kit. Not only do we provide them with a kit, we explain to them how to grow, how to sustain, and how to properly develop a microgreens. If you look at the beautiful picture on your screen right here to your left, that is one of the recent workshops that Great Tech Kingston had with students. We had students come over and explain to them how we integrate the tech, the IoT into smart farming and how it becomes easier. On the right part of your screen and what is right here in front of you is a MyF kit and one of the sensors that Tony recently explained. A soil moisture sensor, as you can see, implanted in the MyF kit to monitor the moisture of the soil and determine how much more water it needs or how much less you need to keep on watering it.
So you're wondering, how do we make this large scale? So here's our financial and sustainability report. Each unit would cost under $100, which is a very beautiful number to look at in the realm of sustainability. And for each user, the cost for them would be slightly above, which is still a pretty cute number to look at. With support from this challenge, we'd be able to deploy a minimum of 100 MyOff kits across the community. And that would impact 300 to 500 Kingstonians in our first year alone. And through sponsorships, we'd be able to give them free to lower geared incomes as well, helping target the most impacted communities in our community. You can have community in community, can you not? Let's make Kingston a community that is a gold standard for food security, for innovation. A Kingston where schools teach students how to farm indoors, and you can have healthy, nutritious food just in your kitchen, grown on site. The plate is empty, and it's time for someone to step up to the plate. Here at Great Tech Kingston, I am somebody.
Thank you very much. Harold.
Thank you. I'm familiar a little bit with grow towers and other concepts for inside. I guess two questions. One is, what is your predicted time from when you start this to harvest? And do you have an idea about how much food could be produced? And secondly, have you looked at a larger scale as well for, say, not-for-profits that have a cafe or other larger food production?
Yes, thank you very much, Harold. So we have actually partnered up with, I don't know if anyone's familiar with Collective Joy Farms. They are very common down at the Market Square and also at the Memorial Center markets. And they're one of our partners for our workshops as well. So for the typical planting time from seed to harvest is 7-10 days. What you have in front of you are speckled peas. I think those were planted 9-10 days ago. And you could actually eat them 2 days ago. So that's what you'd eat itself right there. And the microgreens themselves are a much more nutrient-dense version of, I'll call it the mother plant. Some of them are up to 40 times denser nutrition, and that's where a lot of this comes from. So they're great for garnishes, smoothies, salads and such. But in regards to going big scale, our partner Collective Joy does have big scale. They have their indoor and outdoor rural farm as well. And they have partnerships with various restaurants in the community. So apparently it's something people like if it's been implemented on that scale.
Great. Brian.
Thanks, guys. Really intriguing. I certainly love the piece about like just even inspiring and educating people about agriculture, like where's that new generation of farmer come from? So I think that's cool. I think just to build on Harold's question, so I'm trying to understand like what the payback would look like, right? So if I was interested in this as a solution for food insecurity, so how long, given the upfront cost, how much food, how long would it take me to kind of for this to be worth it rather than just going a more traditional route and just buying food from like a farmer's market?
Yes, so I believe Tony would be able to assist us with this question.
Yeah, so like what Nathan mentioned, we partner with Collective Joy. She's a local farmer here in Kingston. She have been our go-to advisor with the microgreens. But just to answer the question, currently our cost is sourced out here in Kingston. At least that's like last week ago, we found out that there's a source of building materials. The turnout is pretty much easy. Like what we have here, this is just for 10 days. If the scale, because we have two models, this is our MVP, which is a micro model, and we also have the growing tent, which is larger than this one, that it still has that technology that we are using. But the turnout, that's something that we would maybe in a few days to publish it, that we can scale from this harvest. We can just calculate that based on what we produce in a smaller scale and then continue on as we scale up. And we also have AI to use to help us with those margins.
So we don't have an exact number for the actual turnout. As you said, we could do a calculation from this size, but I know Collective Joy in her unit she had down on Brock Street, it's just behind the Tim Hortons there in the corner of Princess and Brock. She was able to produce, I think it was 7 to 15 tons each year since she started up, and her most recent one was I think 15 tons, and it was 800 square feet. It was a very small. So this is literally 1 square foot. I hope that helps.
Shelley?
I'm building on these questions as well because I'm interested really in the affordability aspect, because certainly from a food security perspective, it is that affordability piece that's a limiting barrier. So I'm wondering about the scalability. Are you able to attach other units to it? Because I'm also assuming most of the cost is in the technology and not necessarily in that unit. So can you talk a little bit about the scalability of, like, let's say this as a personalized solution for someone, and how we can leverage the cost of what's in the sensors to actually build out more production?
Yeah, so that's, thank you very much for your question there, Shelley. So when it comes to that, yes, and due to the size and shape, you're able to stack them upon each other. I don't know, I don't actually know the proper strength of it, so I don't know how many units tall you could get, but you could get 3 tall apparently for the strength of the units. But as he was also saying, we have our growing tent, that one is 6 units itself, so there is a way to scale up and you're able to connect them as well. So if we were to do that, you wouldn't need to get excess sensors, you could use the existing ones. So once you have your upfront cost, as long as you don't have to do replacements, which are very little with these ESP32 boards, your only cost from there on out would essentially be electricity to power your microcontroller, which is very little. And on top, that would also be your seeds for when you plant.
Rob?
You touched on what I was going to ask there is, so you said, a unit's $100 approximately. What does it cost to, once I've grown this and I've harvested that and I can attach whatever value I want on the crop, what does it cost to replant?
That goes for whichever plants you want to do. As I spoke on before, these are speckled peas. So back to the time frame of what it is. The general time span, from what I understand from our partnership with Collective Joy and Tamara there, is the average window for all of the common and uncommon microgreens are from seed to sprout 7 to 21 days, depending on what it is. The hardier, thicker ones that come from rootier families, they often take longer, but then if you have something like your peas, or you have your mustards, or your garlics, or your onions, radishes, which are also delicious, by the way, those are on the lower side, 7 to 10, but then the hardier ones are usually 15 to 20. And once again, the cost will depend on what plant you're going with.
Understand that the timeframes vary based on that, but give me an average. Is it going to cost me another $5 to replant a thing, or is it going to cost me 75 cents? Because that really does go into food sustainability.
The cost is a huge aspect. Yeah, you're very right, Rob. So the cost for that, once again, yeah, so Tony's saying for the peas themselves, they're $7 to $8. I believe you can do 2 or 3 trays with one package. So when you look at the nutrition value of that compared to the bigger one and like what you'd pay for a bag of peas at the store, you're going to be offsetting your costs as well. But for the price point, that's what we have for this one. Unfortunately, I don't have the numbers with me right now for the other seeds themselves because I didn't catalog them all. I apologize for that, something I should have prepared for. But the cost is quite low. It's not 75 cents, but you're going to look roughly $5 to $9 would be the ballpark I would give you for that.
Jim.
Very interesting idea. Have you sat down and said, you know, for one individual or, you know, a couple or a family of 4, you know, a sort of a 2 weeks in the life of, okay, and so how this integrates with meal plans and you know, how, you know, what sort of extra effort would be required to do this, say, versus the status quo? I'm just wondering if you've talked with families or individuals, not the growers, but actually the people who might actually be using that.
Yeah, so dealing with actual families and people, Tony is a people and he has a family and he's actually used this at home with his wife and he has a teenage son and we all know how picky teenage boys can be when it comes to eating. And they were doing wheatgrass. So that's something that they use quite a bit. Would you like to touch on that, Tony?
Well, yeah, I mean, the good thing about this that there's other plants that we can try and, you know, continue. But I think aside from food security, in the long run, I think something that we can talk about is the learning part and the innovation and the opportunity part that we're giving to whoever gets this. They will start in the cheapest way of farming. This one already teach you how to do smart farming. You can monitor your data, you can make some changes, you know, like the lights and so on and so forth. So I think more than what we provide, like the nutrition and the facts of food, aside from that opportunity to learn and be able to scale in a larger greenhouse, that's a big future opportunity.
Jen.
I love the concept and the idea, especially because I just had this conversation with my kids the other day on how we can start growing things in the house. But so I love that. My question is regarding marginalized populations who will actually benefit from something that is touching on food scarcity. So how will you get this into the hands of the populations that need it the most, that may not have the funding to spend $100 on each item? And also, if you offer the workshops as part of, like, it may not be that they take this system, but then they can learn through the workshops, how much do the workshops cost?
So in regards to getting this into the hands of marginalized population and as we could put it, those who need it most but have the least means of getting them, that would also come to the sponsorships and the money we could potentially get from our pitch here. Thank you so much once again for having us. Thank you for all your questions, by the way. That is what we would do to kind of help jumpstart, get this into the hands of the people that need it most. And I think it's very wonderful that this is also a conversation you had with your kids this week about growing your own food. Because not only is it great because you get that time together, you get the experience, you learn new skill, but it's fresh and it tastes the best when you grow it close to home because you know it's grown with love, right? The workshops, we don't have a current price point right now, but we would also try to tie that in with the funding from this, and once again, sponsorships from that. They would be held in places such as schools, libraries, community centers, whoever we'd be able to partner with. We've talked to a few people already, and I know St. Lawrence College is willing to have us back for a few more workshops in their innovation hub, and I've some colleagues in Brockville as well that are interested in botany and have gone to school for that want to host a few there as well for the Upper Canada School Board, was it TIS and such, for all the little schools in that area as well to try to help that population. So Kingston is our big goal, but if we're able to reach out and maybe help Eastern Ontario, that would be a great goal long term, and then the world.
That's great. All right, thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we have a 15-minute break. All right, everybody, we're going to get back to work. All right, can everybody take their seats? No, no, no. My days as a professor are long gone, Jim. So, all right. So we're back. What an incredible start to the morning. The buzz, the comments from all of the judges, from people attending, so impressed. So thank you very much for all of the presentations. But we got 4 more, and they're strong as well. So up next, we have Canav. Can we have, who's our, there we are. There you go. Welcome.
Okay. Hi, my name is Vizart Hussain. I'm a master's in financial innovation and technology student at the Smith School of Business, and I'll be talking about my food management startup called Canav, which helps users eat well, save more, and waste less. So it's no secret that there's some issues with the Canadian food ecosystem right now, with almost 50% of the food getting wasted in Canada because of various reasons, such as people just, supermarkets not buying a certain type of produce because it doesn't look right, to the end user just buying food that they don't need, and they end up wasting it. Food prices have been increasing, and 3 to 5% equates to about $800 price increase for a family of 4 in Kingston, which is pretty high. And that's why it's been declared as an emergency in the city, and it's a very serious issue. And by no means do I think that a startup like Canav or any one entity can solve this very complex issue, which has a lot of macroeconomic factors, political issues, supply chain issues. But I think what I'm trying to do is actually just take the anxiety away from the end user of managing the high prices and wasting food. And that's why I'm introducing Canav, which is a smarter food management system. And what it does is that it helps users actually manage the inventory of food that they have, keep track of the budget, and also get recipe suggestions based on the ingredients that they have. And in the future, I also want to have a community engagement platform, which I'll also talk about. It helps pretty much anyone who buys food. It could be anyone from a busy parent to a busy student at Queen's who just moved in, or someone who just likes cooking and is actually passionate about it. So I'm going to start talking about the inventory and tracking and budgeting. As you can see over here, if you click play that, for inventory, for inventory, you can track all the items that you have, and you can actually keep track of all these items. So it's actually sorted by expiry date by default, but you can also use the search function, look for any item that you want. You can also hit the add inventory system and actually add any items that you want. In the budget tab, you can actually look at all the budgets that you have on the platform, and that's going to be it's okay. In the budget tab, you can actually keep track of the expenses, the budget, and the feature also has a system where you can upload the receipts and actually track those receipts as well. So the receipt's going to automatically update the inventory, it's going to update your shopping list, and it's going to update your inventory as well. And once you have the inventory and you've made the purchases, you get personalized recipes. So for personalized recipes, you can actually keep track of all the recipes that you can keep track of based on the inventory that you already have. That basically means that, say if you have a certain amount of items, which could be either in your pantry, your fridge, or anywhere else, it's going to show up over here, and it's going to automatically show you the items or the recipes that you can actually create on the platform. And that's what the recipe is. So these are the core features of the platform. But once we actually have a product market fit and actually have validated my hypothesis that people would actually use the service, what I want to do is get to the community tab. And basically, it's going to be launched in 2 different phases, which basically means that you're going to have a community tab, which allows users to actually have be able to actually share recipes, share deals in your community, and also actually engage with each other. Once this has been validated and people are interested in communities, which I've noticed a lot of people, so if you go to the Kingston subreddit, a lot of people will be talking about food. A lot of people actually want cheaper buying options as well, especially the students who move in here. And they want to actually be able to find home-cooked food. And that's what the marketplace does. It gives users an opportunity to earn through 2 different types of services. So it gives you all the compliance support that you need. So you're able to have, it's compliant with provincial regulations, notice of intent, certifications that you need, but also in the community tab, you'll be able to find your buyers. And that's where marketing comes in, and you get connected to the commercial and community kitchens as well to actually operate this. So this is a very busy slide by design, because I wanted to show that an idea like Canav can help partner with a lot of different parts of Kingston, basically, which basically means you can actually deal with the public sector, and we'll be tracking data through Google Analytics, and you can track the items that people usually buy. So if you're a farm near Kingston, you can actually, you should know what the demand is because of that. Community support as well with food banks. Commercial kitchens, local businesses. These are services which can actually help ease the cost for a lot of users as well. Business training with Kingston Economic Development. And also educational institutes as well. Educational institutes, incubators, and legal support is great, but I also think advertising and educational institutes would be amazing as well. If you're actually a student which has moved in from the GTA, for example, and you have your parents drive down to give you home-cooked meals, it's a much more efficient system if you can actually find someone in Kingston to actually sell you these meals as well. And the platform basically is designed to have a seamless user experience, which is achieved through an efficient tech stack, which basically means it's cost efficient. Most of the tech that I'm using is open source, except for a few exceptions, or they have like generous credits for me to actually bootstrap this while I'm actually creating this. Also, it's an easy to use and easy to understand user interface, which basically means you can actually track most of the things on the platform. The AI automation system, actually what it does is that it can, when you actually take a picture of the receipt, it will actually upload it on the platform by itself, and it'll detect it. So things like that will make things much more easier, because a lot of people are not too good with actually just writing down and tracking their budgets by themselves, especially if you're using Excel or something. And a secure infrastructure, which basically means that everything's safe, no data leaks will happen, because Canav is not gonna be keeping sensitive data, it's gonna be through Firebase and other sources. So this is Canav, and I hope you liked my presentation. Thank you.
Excellent. Jen.
I'm so excited to tell you that I am your end user. I am a mom who does not know how to cook, and I feel that anxiety. So I'm really excited about this. My question for you is, how do I purchase this? Is this an online subscription? Can I cancel any time? Yes, that's it.
Yes, thank you. So there's no subscription element to it, especially when you're onboarding customers at first. It's mainly because it's too, if you're trying to save money on food, you're not gonna wanna pay a subscription fee. I think the payment or the revenue comes in from partnerships. So if you can find someone to advertise on the platform, that can be, or if the marketplace feature launches, then you can have commissions on the food that you sell. But I don't think it's right to be charging people for just the subscription of a food management platform. Sure.
Brian?
Thank you. Great presentation, and I agree, kind of like Jen. So I'm seeing it through the eyes of a potential consumer. So I guess 2 questions. Number 1, can you talk a little bit about what the time component would be, kind of inputting and kind of keeping track of like the inventory of food in your household? Because I think that would be key. Like if it's onerous, then that would be a bit of a barrier. Yeah. Second piece is, I like the idea about like, okay, here's what I have, and then it feeds you suggestions. That's cool. What would be cool is if it said, oh, if you got these 2 extra ingredients you don't normally get from the store, then you could make up this meal as well. So I'm just wondering, does it have that kind of flexibility to be able to respond to that?
Yes. So if we just click play on this video over here, it basically what it does is that you can actually just track everything through an automated system. So when you Sorry, my bad. Yeah, so if you can just please click play. So there's a video over here which actually shows it. It's already prepared with the front end. I just have to make the back end actually compliant. So I've already done it with a different platform where there's a ChatGPT 4.0 mini integration with the Tesseract OCR. And what it does is that it actually integrates your any picture that you take of a receipt. So say if you go to Food Basic and you actually take a picture, it's going to actually automatically, it's going to detect it, and it's going to actually just compile it. Also what happens is it adds the final budget on your, and it takes it off, and also it adds the inventory on your items as well. Yes, hi, Jim.
Just a suggestion on the last point, and before I get to my question, which is, I wouldn't overlook again, using something like Siri or Alexa, actually to get the user to just say, romaine lettuce looks pretty good, or something like that, just instead of just relying strictly on sort of instrumentation. But the question actually that I had is, do you have a good sense of the competitive landscape? Because I think it's becoming a very crowded area. And what your differentiation is and what barriers to entry there might be.
Yes. So the competitive landscape from my research is that there are specific services which are offered which can have offers, but I think people aren't able to track it all in one platform. So if you want to get access to food or like get access to like cheaper food, there are platforms which will help you do that. But there's nothing which is like one platform which has it all. And that's very important, I feel like, because if you're someone who's actually wants to sell home cooked food, you want to do it under one system, because a lot of people will not go and find commercial kitchens and find compliance. And that's something you'll notice if you go to Facebook Marketplace and you search for home cooked food. You'll find a lot of people selling home cooked food. I don't know if it's legal, but they do that because it's a lot of compliance issues that they have to deal with. And you can only have, if it's all under one platform, it will actually help them reach more customers as well. So this is more cost efficient for them as well. And it's good for the end user as well, who's going to be actually buying food as well, because they know that it's actually made the right way.
I'm interested in the marketplace component.
Yes.
And in particular, I'm interested in a little bit more about how you're working on that compliance piece and the commercial kitchen piece. Are you working with those commercial kitchens to schedule the time, or are you simply providing the information and then a platform for people to sell their home-cooked meals to other clients?
I want to be able to connect them to the right kitchens, basically, based on the time. So it's going to be a time sharing and also shared kitchen option, which they can do. There's some models which I was exploring for this. So like a company like Sizzle already does this, where they actually have people who can book times at commercial kitchens and then go and actually cook it over there. So that's the model that I was exploring specifically with this.
Other questions? Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well done. All right, next up, visualize it.
Do we all want to stand on this side? Because we need to pass the mic around for the introduction. So, have you ever wished that you could change the real world around you with just a smartphone? Well, with our app, Visualize It, that wish becomes a reality. Beyond Visualize It is a group of students who aim to make technology and creativity more empowered and intertwined. We all have a common goal, and that is to make augmented reality and AI both more accessible and intuitive for everybody. So now we'll take a short moment to introduce ourselves.
So my name is Joey, and I'm a computer science student at the University of Waterloo.
My name is Alexa, and I'm a software engineering student at the University of Waterloo.
My name is Achita, and I'm a first year in computer engineering at the University of Waterloo.
And my name's Aryan, and I'm a first-year computing student at Queen's. So our AI-powered app allows you to overlay stunning, either AI or real-world created images onto your surroundings using just your smartphone camera. Whether you want to visualize a new piece of artwork, preview an advertisement in your community, or even just bring your creative adventures to life, Visualize It does it effortlessly. With just a tap, you can transform your surroundings, bringing digital creativity and with the physical world in ways never seen before, only limited by your creativity.
Now let's talk about something a bit more technical. Our tech stack, which uses emerging technologies and tools in computer vision and machine learning. The tech stack uses tools such as OpenCV, MediaPipe, Ultralytics, and Hugging Face transformers such as Stable Diffusion and PyTorch, allowing for object detection, image generation, and machine learning algorithms. And with the computer vision, we employ projective geometry to allow you, the user, to wrap and map images and logos onto different objects and surroundings as desired. Similarly to how self-driving cars understand their surroundings, we make it so we can calculate the movement of the object so it follows in a natural way, allowing for real-time integration.
So how do you know if your design is going to communicate your ideas effectively? It takes a lot of people, a lot of time to make an advertisement, to distribute it on the web, and especially in physical spaces, and to gauge audience feedback. It becomes even further complicated when you need to display your advertisement on different mediums, such as a bottling company who wants to put their logo on a water bottle, but also on a billboard. And these little things add up quickly, and they become quite costly. In 2024 alone, the Ontario government spent $103.5 million in advertising expenses alone. Imagine how much lower that would be if they use an app like Visualize It, where they could generate hundreds of images, different candidates, to see what their logo could look like, and on different surfaces. So the bottling company from before, they could select from many different prompts and from many different results, and they could see what it looks like from on a bottle from any other angle, or on a billboard or flat surface from any angle. And it's not just large-scale corporations or large-scale organizations like the Ontario government that can leverage this tool. Small businesses who don't have the resources to do vast market research or the manpower to create lots of different advertisements can benefit from this greatly, since they don't have, they don't have the resources to do that much advertising, and they could benefit them hugely.
Yeah, so now let's talk about the possible applications of this within the city of Kingston. So many designs are completely dependent on its environment. This is where our product shines. And our product basically ensures that you're getting the best results and getting the maximum amount of retention. So for example, it's applicable for citywide posters, bus adverts and messages, and art murals. And it's also applicable to many other things, as our product is completely customizable to almost any area. So if you go to the next slide. So just like a quick demonstration on what I mean about effectiveness in environments. So as you can see on the board, we have poster number 1 and poster number 2, and they both represent the same message, which is to stop smoking. And I want you to think right now about which poster looks better. So you might think that poster number 1 looks a lot better, maybe because of its color, or maybe because of the font, or maybe that like cool little dude right there. But according to a survey done, poster number 2 actually performed significantly better in a specific environment compared to poster number 1. And let me explain why. So its effectiveness really depends on its environment. You have to remember that a poster is not acting as its own lone item on there. It's also put together with other items. For example, maybe you're just entering the subway station. It's next to a bunch of walls, or you're put together with a bunch of other posters. And like a quick analogy about this, it's just like a slideshow, just like the one we have here. If I put like a specific item on a slideshow or a specific element, it's going to look different if I change the template or I change the format. And now moving on more towards the technical aspect and just like a quick demo of our thing.
So what we have, so we're gonna show a quick demo. So first, oh, it didn't do it properly. Or we'll just go to the video demo. That work? So what we first have is we need to click what object we want to do. Let's say we wanted to pick a water bottle. So first we just type in a bottle, and then we would type in a prompt. What prompt can we do? Let's say we wanted a really cute cat image. So that's our logo. So we would just generate that, and now we just let it run, and it would generate the image. So what it does is it basically just wraps the logo onto the image and displays it in real time. And yeah. Thank you for listening.
All right, questions?
My question is actually on your business model. How are you utilizing this to make money? And then secondary to that, I'm also interested in how this is different from other AI tools where I can type in, I want a cool logo that's of a cool cat. So how does this differentiate from what's out there? So sorry, two questions.
Yep. So just to answer like how this makes us different is that this one works in real time. As you saw in the image, the video, we're actually holding the ball in real time. So for example, if I actually walk to the poster, I can like observe it by walking in different angles. As our product actually like works on curved surfaces. So for example, other products, if you just generate the logo, paste it on, you might get like a flat like static image. But for our thing, it's 3D running in real time. So you can evaluate from different angles, evaluate when you walk into it, what you see. And that's our main like benefit.
Yeah, and since these AI models take a lot of resources to compute, we could have subscriptions or subscription models to clients who want to use a more high-powered versions of our software to generate on a larger scale, and that I feel could be an effective business model.
Another thing is we could employ advertisements. So maybe if you're going to use the device, you might be able to see, oh, we show it. You could show the object, but we could also do maybe in the background instead of like in a random square, in like a square, like a picture frame, we might show an advertisement there. So we could have advertisement on there just to just to create revenue.
I mean, it's an interesting starting application on advertising, and especially the notion of, imagining what, creative ads would be on surfaces. Do you think there's a lot of opportunity in any other areas for such a tool like this? I mean, I guess part of it, the differentiator is the real-time piece, but I'm just wondering if if you had to pick another sector that you would go for.
Yeah, it's actually a really general app, so you could actually use it in a wide variety of places. For example, there might be similar apps out there, but I know, for example, there's places where you could essentially visualize like a haircut on you. I know that there's also places where if you want to shop for clothes, you can take a picture of yourself and they'll kind of overlay a picture of the clothes on you. And while it's not exactly, a live image, unlike ours, it's more like a static thingy. It's kind of still relevant. So I could see like many businesses, especially where you're getting a physical product, which you can't see in person, it would be really easy to apply there.
Right. Yeah, so our app could maybe, if you're going clothes shopping, our app could visualize the clothes on you from different angles and not just from like face forward. And also your haircut from different angles would work too.
Because I'm just sort of thinking like I'm at the garden center and somewhere I've stored an image of my house and said, okay, I'd like 3 of those and 4 of those, and it, show me what it's going to look like once I've planted it or something like that.
Yeah, that would work too.
I've got one more if you want. I mean, is it from a technological standpoint, is it limited to sort of certain kinds of surfaces and projection? I mean, because you mentioned the projective geometry piece.
It really depends on how how much time is spent on it, because it takes a lot of computational power. So maybe some easier curved surfaces would be better, but you lose quality. You will lose some quality and like some speed with it, but it depending on how well your device is.
And our model currently is trained on to detect a finite category of objects. And as we go further in development, we can add more objects to that category to train our model more rigorously. And it'll be able to not only have higher confidence in detecting those objects, but it'll be able to detect a wider variety of objects.
I do have one other question. You mentioned in your presentation how the government spends X amount of money on advertising and that this saves advertising dollars. So I'm interested if you could just talk a little bit more about how does this actually save money?
So when in advertising, so when the Ontario government would do their advertising, they would need teams of people like designers. They would also need marketers. They need to, so it takes time to kind of put these ads out into like the physical world and also to put them out onto websites. And the government could save money by saving that time, and they could save money. So instead of having kind of like too many designers only working on one thing, they could have those designers work on many different ads using our tool, so they could come up with faster designs and they can implement them and output them quicker.
I could expand a bit on that. So essentially, instead of having to, put a finished product out into the world and not knowing whether or not it'll exactly work, you could essentially like test out multiple different advertisements without having to actually put up a physical one. So, and kind of essentially visualize it in like the real world.
Yeah, and also to add to that, since you can generate different images and different designs, you could test many of them at the same time instead of having to design each and every one of them. And then after that, when you like a certain one, you will get your team of designers to further expand on that design once you know that it will be effective.
All right, thank you very much. Well done. All right, next up is Lonica.
Hello. So, hello, my name is Zainal Sudani, and I'm one of the 4 co-founders of Lonica. What is Lonica? Lonica is an AI-based tool that is capable of understanding bylaws, simplifying lawyer jargon, big words, and going through pages of pages can be really, really annoying sometimes. I am pretty sure each of you have experience with bylaws. What if I tell you my team invented a concept that had never been done before, a concept that takes all the struggles away from you and gives you simple, straightaway answers, instead of you having to either go through the struggle all by yourself or emailing the city that could take up to 2 weeks to get an actual response. Let's save your time. But before that, let me introduce my team. We have Wally, Ethan, Yafet, and myself, and we've been working on this project for 2 months nonstop, day and night, and it wouldn't have been possible without our supporters. So thank you so much towards that. Well, what do we actually expect from the city, and what do we actually want to do? Our project can make the city better. We have data, we have points, we have many things to prove. We are production ready. We would like to work with the city together to manage to make the city much more amazing than it already is. But what really is the problem?
Hi. What if I told you that most Kingston residents don't understand the city's bylaw? And it's not their fault. Before we dive into the solution, let's talk about the real problem. So we've asked more than 60 Kingston newcomers, residents, and business owners about what their issue with the city's bylaw. And here's what they told us. So these are the responses that we've got. And so our biggest takeaway from this responses are it's difficult to navigate, it's hard to understand, and it's also unorganized. So the reason why we say that is because 80% of the people who filled the survey don't find it easy to understand the city's bylaw. And on top of that, 25% of the people who filled the survey don't even know what bylaws are, which is really concerning, right? So that's a major problem. So Kingston residents and also Kingston business owners are struggling with bylaw, accessibility, clarity, and organization. So this leads them to frustration, confusion, and on top of that, unintended violations. So that's why we need Lotonica.
Let's talk a little bit more in depth about what Lotonica is. Lotonica is an AI-powered tool designed to make understanding bylaws simple, fast, and accessible. With Lotonica, I'm sure we're all aware that understanding Kingston's bylaws can be extremely overwhelming, but Lotonica helps eliminate this hassle by providing fast, accurate, and source-backed answers to all of your bylaw-related questions. At the core of Lotonica is Tonica, our specialized AI engine. It works in the background, analyzing thousands of pages of complicated bylaw documents, enabling it to provide the user with easy-to-understand summaries. At the front end of our project is the website. This acts as the user interface where people can chat with Tonica. When a user talks with Tonica, they're able to pick between one of three modes. The first mode is the precise mode. This mode is designed for users who already have some understanding of bylaws. It lets the user pick which specific bylaw document they would like to ask Tonica a question about. The second mode is the general mode. This mode is designed for users with little to no understanding of bylaws. Unlike the precise mode, the general mode automatically determines the most relevant bylaw document based on the user's question. This makes it extremely accessible for anybody to use. The third mode, which we hope to implement in the future, is the legacy mode. This mode would track changes between previous bylaw documents, allowing the user to analyze how bylaws and regulations have evolved over time. This mode would be incredibly useful for academics, lawyers, and lawmakers. With Lotonica, we aren't just making bylaw information accessible. We're reshaping how people interact with and understand the bylaws that affect them.
Lotonica has so much more implementations. Let's say you're a day-to-day resident wondering about your fence, or a business owner wondering about policies, or a newcomer wondering about housing. The general version would be a perfect resource, as this would be so useful by just simply asking it, and the legacy would be perfect for historians, educators, and so much more. Lotonica creates such a unique solution to the problem, as currently we would often have to ask the mayor or the city, which would take weeks to just get one simple response. Okay, so this is the video demo of how Lotonica would work, and I want to highlight a few things about it. So let's just ask it, how tall can my fence be? To which Lotonica gives you a fast response, and in that response, it makes sure to have a citation, which gives you a link back to the city website where you can look for it yourself. Another key thing that we implement within Lotonica is the hallucination. As you guys may know, that AI can create a lot of false answers or unknown answers. The way we battle this issue is by making sure that AI has no external resource except our bylaws or the Kingston bylaws to utilize, allowing it that that's the only information provided. And another thing is we would love to use the precise version. If you don't get the answer that you want from the general version, we would love if a precise version allows you to select the bylaw document that you want to ask a question about, and it will give you a precise, bulletproof answer to your questions.
So far so good. Everything sounds amazing. And this project is surprisingly already production ready. We could deploy it right now. We could help the city right now. But there's things that have to happen in the future. Well, let's talk about the near future. I would like to implement the context memory. Context memory is the idea or the concept to make the AI more precise than it already is. As you have realized, the precise version will always work. We have been trying it out. Of course, there needs to be more testing, but there can be problems with the general version sometimes, where the context memory can solve that. On top of that, I would like to make it possible for the AI to take out of multiple bylaws at the same time. Because let's be for real, not every single time do you have really a specific question that has only something to do with one bylaw. So the segment vectorization might be actually an option for that. And also, we would like to build our own server instead of hosting it, meaning it would be more eco-friendly and the cost would be cut to half. And that is just, we would just have to spend $650 just to cut our cost in half forever. On top of that, and if you're in your like in the far future, we'd like to advance our own AI model, train it, give it more concepts, meaning making us much better than we already are. Then finally implement legacy mode. For example, giving concepts and ideas we could use older cases, case law, or simple other problems that could be affected in the sense of law. And also, there's also the fact that Kingston has a lot of tourism going on. What if we introduce a mode for that? What if we help in that sense? So let's be honest. I genuinely believe that data has shown that the city needs us. And I am more than confident in the fact, and with my team, that we are ready to help. So we don't need much. Our main goal and our plan with the city is to make this place much better. The cost is simple, not much. We are ready to use it, and we are the only ones in the whole industry that have ever applied something like that. So I hope in your trust, and I thank you so much.
Wow. It's not just the public, it's also city staff that may want to use this, but anyway. I'll just as a, I'm not supposed to comment, but your worship.
Thanks, guys. I can certainly identify with that, bylaws can be confusing, and we definitely get lots of inquiries to our office. So I actually thought of like our staff having a tool like this where we could actually use it and simplify it for answers. Very interesting.
Actually, we have also made calculations. Maybe the city doesn't have that many fines anymore because people are aware of it. But what would happen is we would save also on cost on staff because it's not replacing us, the staff, of course, but it saves much of their time.
Yeah, no, interesting. So I think what comes to mind as an example is housing can be very complicated. Like for example, we're trying to encourage people to put in like secondary housing units in their homes. The biggest barrier, right? We offer money. The biggest barrier is just navigating an incredibly complex, permit system. So I think there's definitely really interesting applications there. So can this go just a little bit beyond bylaws? Could it look at, okay, here are all the things that you would need to do? Because sometimes it's not just the rules, but it's what do you have to do in order to fit the rules? Does that make sense? So is that something, would you have flexibility in a platform to be able to do that?
That is actually already implemented. So we are capable of giving you instructions on what you have to do. This AI is capable of doing that. We have given it instructions, which we will not, of course, reveal because that is our core, to just go for that. It will be able to only take what is logical from the bylaws, never invent something from itself. And yeah, it already implements that, and it can be made better, of course, for the future.
Hi guys, great presentation. You mentioned a couple of things that I was curious about. Number one, that the cost was $650. That was it in order to supplement this. And you mentioned how a tourist might use this. So my question is, what is the $650 and how would a tourist know about it? Is the $650 advertising or where is that money going to?
So to clarify a little bit further, maybe there was a misunderstanding. So we have a cost, which is currently, the only thing would be like the clouding services, where we have to do the housing and also the query that we have to pay, which is 1 cent each. By getting a server instead of using public like cloud services, what would happen is we would not have to pay monthly, and we pay $650 on buying a server where we host everything on there, meaning all of our cost of other aspects would be cut down to half. And on top of that, we would get to a point that we have to just pay electricity for it, which could get to up to $13 a month, also with the calculations. So yeah, it would help a lot. And about the question with the tourists, well, tourists, when they come to this city, there must be also bylaws for them, right? Or like in general, they might want to inform themselves before making decisions. Maybe a businessman comes into Kingston and would like to know a little bit more about the city. So it would be good to have a bylaw that could help him, that could focus on actually what most of the tourists would like to be interested in. Keep in mind policies and other aspects like cases and everything written can be used with Lonica.
I find this very fascinating because I've worked in several municipalities over my career, and certainly I could see the scalability of selling this to multiple municipalities. What I'm interested in is very much a use case scenario, because often in my world I work with a lot of planning, development, growth. Does this platform have the capabilities that I could put in the address of my proposed location, then find out the appropriate bylaws and regulations around that specific site?
I could give you a long answer, but the short answer is yes, it can. It is more than capable to do that. Keep in mind, we're production ready and is already useful by it is, but we would literally just need 2 months more, just for the sake of we are nerds and we want to make sure that our project has to be 100% correct and good, right? And yeah, it is capable of doing that since it's trained on that. Thank you, that's a good question.
This is really interesting, and I can see some really far-reaching applications for it. Question is about onboarding. Are you just scouring the city website to get the bylaws, and your AI is bringing that in? How are you getting legacy information that may not be published online, and how are you uploading that for comparison? Because, you know, I recently had an upgrade done at my house, and it met the bylaws and the codes for 1980, but it doesn't seem to work right now. So, you know, something like that would be very helpful to be able to know before going into that.
Well, let's talk about first of all how I managed to get all those bylaws, because after all, they're not all publicly available, the current ones, but there is a different version of it online. I created a system with my team that scans over the website and then gets all the information through that. That's one thing. And then another topic is coming to how I would compare older bylaws with the newer ones, and which would make us in the sense also unique, is we have to team up with you, of course, the city, because we cannot have access to the archives. If we would be, then we just upload documents online and then just do the same system, using it, comparing, doing things. That example you just gave with the house would be a use case of it.
Thanks, guys. Just one other question. You talked about legacy, like looking back on how things have evolved. I'm wondering if you thought at all about predictive changes forward. So for example, you have a development and it doesn't fit the rules, but you want to know based on previous council decisions how likely it is that council would approve a change that would allow for development go forward. Is that something that your technology could help with?
So the thing is, it is capable of doing that, but I'm going to give you a different answer to that, because I don't want to focus too much on this. The thing that makes us unique is our AI is, from our understanding, not capable of hallucinations. So if I give it only the data, every data that I have right now, and it is really good by the current state of it, it would give me maybe an approximation of how it could be and what the city could decide, but it is not exact. Now let's just, if we implement the context memory and all those other aspects, it would get closer. But yeah, it is capable of doing that instead of just using its informations from outside the web, just by the bylaws, so yeah.
I mean, to build on Shelley's points, right, I mean, you can imagine also, people looking to locate, all of a sudden, could say, oh, this site's got, no, I can check Waterloo, I can check Tech Kingston and all this kind of thing. What's the business model you're entertaining? I mean, you mentioned $650, which, as I understand it, is your server cost. So have you thought about how you're going to monetize this, generate revenue, and so forth? Excellent. Good job.
We would love to give you guys an early development or an early adoption, but we would like to expand to companies, to cities. So after Kingston, we would love to go to Napanee, nearby cities, and then implement that for them. And then further on for big companies that also have bylaws. So we'd love to do that on a payment scale where it's a monthly contract with the city or with a certain company, to which the user, it's free, but the city pays for it. That's our plan.
Yes, yeah.
When you roll this out, I assume you're starting off in English, but how will you ensure that newcomer families, and how many languages do you perceive? And are you concerned about the bylaws being somehow different when you translate to different languages?
It already can speak all other languages.
Of course it can.
Yeah. So it is capable of doing that already. It just, you have to ask it in that question. It's just, I personally, for testing, since I can only speak German, Arabic, and English, I just set that to English for now. But as soon as we put it to other people, it's just more than like, it's like an easy switch in that sense. I would like to also put on top of your question a little bit more. So we would basically, the way how we would like to charge the city, in the sense, of course, we give you a robot since you guys are the first people using it, but we would pay, we would give you like a fee of, for example, $1,500 a month, and then at a certain threshold, we would like to introduce a query cost, because let's be feasible about this. Those cost money, and then it wouldn't be like really smart for us to do only 1,500. So that would work. Ideas of partnerships could be, for example, the TTC that uses bylaws, or our current transit uses also bylaws. Businesses, many aspects could use that. But yeah, it could speak all languages.
All right, thank you very much. Well done. All right, I'm pleased to invite up our last presentation, Copia.
I will use this one. It's much more easier.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Um, Mayor Patterson, honorable judges, and esteemed guests. I'm Sofia Sanjarovska, St. Lawrence student. Imagine a Kingston where fresh local food is truly accessible, where food waste is drastically reduced, where small businesses and farmers thrive in a connected marketplace. This isn't just an idea. It's reality we're building with Copia, Kingston's first AI-powered food accessibility platform. So, what's the problem? 1 in 4 households in Eastern Ontario struggles with food insecurity. Meanwhile, over 100,000 kilograms of food is wasted annually due to inefficient distribution. Farmers and small businesses want to connect with customers but lack for digital tools. And at the same time, customers want to shop local but find it complicated and fragmented. So with no centralized solution, surplus food goes to waste while families go hungry. We need a smarter, more connected way forward. So Copia is an AI-powered food ecosystem that connects local farms, businesses, food banks, and customers in real time. It's a digital guide making local food shopping easy, affordable, and sustainable. But it's more than a food directory. It's a smart digital platform serving both customers and businesses. So, Copia brings customers and businesses together. There are 2 types of interaction with app depending on the type registered account. So, businesses or customers account. For customers, customers can easily find food vendors and markets using an interactive map. Also, filters help search by price, diet, or ratings, while fast route calculation ensure quick navigations. Advanced search makes it simple to find free, discounted, or dietary-friendly solution for them. Also, virtual store visits lets users explore shops through videos and posts. And AI Assistant provides personalized offerings and event update. And for businesses, so businesses have this and more. They can list and sell product online, creating their own online shop, share promotions, and keep customers informed. Also, a secure chat and business community help vendors connect and collaborate. With these features, Copia is more than a marketplace. It's food accessibility hub. So using this app is natural and intuitive. However, if needed, a helpful guide and artificial intelligence will assist. Copia supports people, planet, and profit all at once. So it aligns with Kingston's 2023-2026 strategic plan on food accessibility. And a 2023 survey shows that many residents struggles to find local food. So Copia cuts carbon emission by optimizing food distribution. Its data supports Kingston's 25-year mobility plan and partnership with Sustainable Kingston enhance food waste management. So what real impact Copia can bring in short terms? More than 5,000 residents are accessing fresh, affordable food. More than 100,000 kilograms of surplus food redirected, reducing waste by 30%. More than 50 farms connected, generating an additional 500,000 in revenue. And more than 10,000 users engaging with local businesses. So this is more than an app, it's a community-driven solution. There are several stages that must be complete to achieve goal. So let's, for revenue model, there will be vendor subscription, which will give them access to premium tools for businesses, municipal and private grants who desire to support food security, and corporate sponsorship partnering with food sustainability inventions. With this model, Copia is built for long-term success. What about timeline? So in 3 months, we planned a year refinement and user testing. In 2 more months, pilot launch with farms and food banks. In 5 more months, expand to more than 10,000 users and scale partnership. And in 2 years or sooner, a self-sustaining model and municipal expansion. So we will have fully developed. And now let's look at one of the users' testimony we gathered.
Of the app with the AI being represented more as a tool than the actual whole creation of it is very helpful, because I find like these kind of apps are very useful for a lot of people that are lost. So maybe even just not like the locals, as they may know like a lot of information of some places. It can help because I still don't know like most restaurants on the west end of Kingston, or lots of local like marketplaces that are available that I didn't know about. It can help me to search this up and find it with the app. And also with a lot of tourists that come down that enjoy a lot of Canadian localized food, or like maple syrup, something to buy more localized that they enjoy, that could be a good way for them to look it up and find a lot more information than just what they may think is available, than just looking up like local businesses, stuff like that, because that gives more of a limit to other businesses' opportunities to have customers. Even with the idea of the 2 different categories to start out with going into the app, it gives people options to either start with a Canadian corporate chain that may reside in lots of different cities in Canada, but also has one in Kingston, or the other section to have just local businesses that only reside ever in Kingston and nowhere else in Canada. It gives people different choices.
Yeah, so with AI-driven innovation, we can transform how... Oh. Yeah, With AI-driven innovation, we can transform how Kingston connect food, people, and technology. We have the plan, the technology, and the passion to make this a reality. Now we need your support to bring Copia to life. Let's redefine food security in Kingston together. Also, here you can see a QR code, which also on each business card. You can scan it from here, and from there, it will lead you to AI assistant, Copia assistant, which was trained manually. Now we have like more than 508 different businesses related to the food in this app, in this assistant. And we plan to develop even more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions? Jim.
Very interesting presentation, and neat to see a working prototype. Have you thought about your revenue generating model for this? Like how you're going to monetize and generate revenue for your venture?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. So we will have small fees for subscription for business plan. For customers, it will be completely free. So also support from different organizations. And we're thinking about like there's a lot of like this is an app which combines a lot of different features, like everything in once. It's very like big and like it have its ecosystem and it's like helps users to communicate and find yeah.
My button went expired. Yeah.
No, like
yeah.
you can find anything in this app. Like if you want free foods, sales, if you have any restriction from doctors, you can use even AI assistant, this AI assistant, to ask to find specific meals without these ingredients included. So yeah, and this is only customer side. Imagine what businesses can do on their side, because they can collaborate and can communicate, they can build strong partnership. At the same time, they can interact with users more effectively, because there will be not just like online shop. They will be able to do post videos, interact with auditory, and find more connections.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, I have a follow-up. Well, everybody else is thinking. Yeah, because I'm thinking, so you're thinking then of sort of possibility of co-creation amongst businesses. So for example, McKinnon Brothers Beer could be co-creating sort of packaged kinds of things with other, say, restaurants or local food shops, perhaps? Is that something you're thinking that you could do?
Collaboration?
Yeah, collaboration platform.
Between businesses?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the part of this platform. So basically, smaller businesses and bigger businesses can collaborate with each other and yeah.
Okay, so you're going to have a direct interaction then between the companies that might be on your platform. You're not just going to scrape information off the web and then use that to train your AI. You're actually.
Oh, you mean like training AI? No, we train AI only on verified information. This is a long process. As I mentioned earlier, we already have 508 different food businesses information, including websites like locations, how costly their food is. So this AI was trained only on verified information, and it's safe, and it won't take misinformation from the internet and give it to the users, because and also like you can turn off these features if you're not comfortable with AI.
Right.
Because when I was doing like gathering feedbacks, some people they say they concerned about AI, like they still like don't believe in the safety of AI. So we will implement this feature so we can just turn off.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I have a question in regards to the farming side. So it's great that all the AI is verified, but there's a lot of farmers out there that aren't online even. So are you able to integrate, or do you have a thought process on how to integrate the farming community into this application?
Yeah, sure. So this is our app is opportunity for smaller businesses or businesses who haven't even a website to be seen. Basically they give users to find them, because a lot of users who even want to find some businesses, they just cannot because they or don't have like websites official, or they like very small businesses. Yeah, so idea is we can use, for example, students help and stuff like this. So, for example, the hardest part is it's like to know how to manage your social media. So all this photography and stuff like this, they can potentially help like during their studying. And it will also like give them extra money. At the same time, they will help smaller businesses to show up. Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you very much. Well, for the students, for our teams, your hard work is done. You have done incredible. There is nothing more daunting than standing up in front of a crowd of distinguished judges and pitching. That is a skill set that will take you far in life. If you can master that, you're well on your way. The tough job now begins for our panel of judges. You have given them a lot to think about, and they're going to need some time. So we've got about 45 minutes to an hour. Think about, we'll be back around 1 o'clock to give you the exciting results of their deliberations. So thank you very much for joining us, everybody. Well done. This was a really hard decision. So I've been here 8 years. This has to be one of the toughest deliberations that we had. To the comments that were made earlier, I think Jim made them about if you're not successful, do not give up. There's core opportunity, I think, for all of the ideas, and I think Brian is going to speak to some of that. So I'll, instead of holding you all on pins and needles, I'll invite Mayor Patterson to come forward and make the big announcement.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Boy, I think Craig has said it really well. This was just a fantastic day, amazing pitches, great ideas. I want to say a big thank you to all of you for all of your time and effort that you've put into your pitches. A big thank you to all the judges. We had an amazing judging panel that we deliberated hard and fast and furious. And yes, as Craig said, you made it all very difficult. Now, as you know, we have 2 different prizes that we need to award. But we've actually added a 3rd prize unexpectedly today, because there is one individual that has really been the champion of this project for the last 8 years, and he often is the one that is thanking everybody else for their role. But I'm hoping that you can join me in thanking him. Craig Desjardins has been an incredible ambassador of this program. So if you know anything about Craig, he has mastered the kind of like jacket and running shoe look.
I didn't point out my new running shoes just for today.
So here we have a trophy just for Craig with displaying the running shoe, just showing about the engine for innovation. So Craig, thank you for all your work over the last 8 years. We really appreciate it. Oh. No, this is not in any way. This couldn't happen without Craig's leadership, so it's just a great chance to be able to recognize that. This is a great team effort to be able to put something like this on, and just so appreciate all the collaboration with all of our different partners to make this happen. Okay, so on to the big moment. So first of all, I just want to just recognize just the amazing pitches that we saw today. So our first pitch was from Access Solutions, Riley and Caesar. Impressive to see a working prototype right in front of us. That was a really, really cool. The demo worked flawlessly. There's no question that you identified a huge issue of food waste. You really helped sell that issue of like, it's a big problem in Canada, how can we address that? So excellent. Our second pitch was Handfluence, Emil, Derek, and Christopher. Really exciting tech. You guys did your homework, you had a business case, you did a competitor analysis, you had thought through a lot of those different components. And I think that certainly we could see the problem and the solution that you were offering. Just that need, and Craig was talking over lunch about how if you have an event and you want to book someone that can do sign language, about just the challenges and just the costs that are involved with that. So I think that there's a real niche issue and a solution presented. Pitch number 3 was TrueSight Labs. Alex, Logan, Ben, and Ryan. Really interesting mind mapping tool. Really like the efficiency of taking information and basically being almost kind of like a digital whiteboard, helping us to understand that, addressing how it could be a learning tool, particularly with those that might struggle with a traditional learning environment. So I think a great potential solution there. Pitch number 4, Green Tech Kingston, Big upon Arnister, Nathan, and Gofal Farola. Again, great to see kind of like a working prototype right in front of us. Love the potential to inspire a new generation and to educate in farming, how it works, a small scale that anyone could learn to be able to do. I think, again, a really good presentation, great answers to questions, and I think that potential even for all sorts of different applications, even beyond, I think, some of what you mentioned in your presentation. Okay, pitch number 5, Canav. Wazirat, so real potential. I think we were talking over the break about how this could be a platform that really could help bring the community together around food and food preparation. We have a number of community kitchens in the city, and being able to leverage and use those, being able to connect those that make the food with those that consume the food. I think, again, just a real a platform that could really help our community to be more efficient in that. Pitch number 6, visualize it. Achita, Joey, Alexa, and Arian. Really interesting idea. We were really thinking through the applications of, taking that maybe to advertising or marketing companies that are developing different ads, and like, here you go, here's the tech, and this is how it could actually look on a bus or on a bottle or other features. And again, just the technology, we're super impressed, saw the demo, thought that was great. Pitch 7, Latonica. Ethan, Zane, Yafet, and Walleen. Again, a really great example, maybe an example kind of hits close to home for me, is just how incredibly impenetrable some of our municipal bylaws and permits and rules and municipalities are, and being able to offer solution to just plain language that answer people's questions, give clear instructions. Honestly, I just think about the number of emails my office gets every year on this sort of stuff, and just being able to come up with a solution. Again, really, really impressed, and certainly has my wheels turning. And then finally, pitch number 8, Copia. So Sophia, Miriam, and Bianca, again, I think you did a great job just identifying the theme of food insecurity. Obviously, just the importance of being able to connect players, and really saw your demonstration about connecting the farmers and the businesses and the consumers all together. And I think that that's going to be a key piece as we're trying to tackle food insecurity, which is one of the biggest issues in the city. So congratulations, everybody. You all deserve kudos. And as has been said, I think all of you have great potential and would certainly welcome to have continued discussions with you, to be able to offer feedback. I know the judges would be happy to chat with any of you. So there can only be 2 winners. So after much deliberation, so our first prize is the Dun&Dishpande Innovation Center Prize, and as was mentioned by Craig earlier, so this is admission into the Queen's Founders and Innovators Initiative program. So a great way to be able to start work, kind of refine your idea, access to seed funding, the chance to pitch in the DDQIC regional pitch competition for up to $80,000. So after much deliberation, the winner of this year's Dun&Dishpande Innovation Prize is Handfluence. And then we have the Public Sector Innovation Prize. The winner of this prize will receive $10,000 cash prize to advance their idea, and in addition will receive automatic admission into the summer company program at Kingston Economic Development. The winner of this year's Public Sector Innovation Prize is Latonica.
Well, thank you very much, Brian. And again, thank you, everybody. To those, as I said earlier, those groups that weren't successful in winning the competition, feel free to reach out. There's a couple of projects that I'm going to reach out. To you about your Canav. I think there's some really interesting applications for some of the work we're doing around food security. To the other projects around food security, there's a major food strategy that the City of Kingston is developing and will deliver in April. So I think you're going to see a place for you to participate in that, without giving away the details. But again, it's very much an opportunity to see you participate in what I think is a vital component of city strategy. And I'll hand it over to Jim, because I think he may have a few comments about.
Just to build on that one point, I think to all the teams, so the Dun and Deshpandy Prize, that's into the Queen's Founders Initiative with the $4,000 seed capital. The DDQIC is a regional resource, so I very much encourage any of the teams that didn't win the prize, absolutely give us a shout. Virginia, who I pointed out before, is our main contact. But we've got co-working space, we've got makerspace and things like that, and those are all regional resources. So we've been really impressed, and I was very impressed with the strength of the teams and the pitches and the ideas, and they all have some potential to go forward. So it really would encourage you to reach out that way, and let's just keep, it's not just this one event, let's keep this going all year. So please do keep us in mind, and like I said, we'd be very happy to help. Thanks, Craig.
Great. Oh, Shelley, comment.
And actually, complementary to that, I also wanted to mention the Summer Company program, which is led by Simon Dunford here. That's another, so this is a provincially run program, and it's, again, all the mentoring, tutoring. The application process will be opening up, I believe, in May? Closes in April. Okay, so don't listen to me. Listen to Simon, because he's the one leading it. But this is a really great program, and it also is access up to $3,000. So utilize the whole ecosystem. We're all here to help.
That's wonderful. And again, the last comment I would make, for those of you that weren't successful, you are finalists. Please use this on your resume. This is an accomplishment to get here. You were one of almost 30 teams that applied. So you're only one of 8 that was in the finalists. The skill set, as I said earlier, that you've learned in pitching is something that you will take far. It'll be a resource and a talent that you will use on a regular basis when you get a job. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for the 8th. Looking forward to the 9th. It's only 364 days away, Julia. Excellent. And be sure, we're going to be, I don't know whether we're going to live stream the junior edition, but there's some really smart young people, so they're biting at your heels for innovation champions of our community. Can't wait for that. I think the big event is in June, but we'll have more announcement about that later. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day.